Hi friends, welcome to Frugal Females Challenge Live, the Side Hustle panel featuring Beth Miller, Bethany Edwards, and Raymond Montgomery.
Hi.
We are joined today by a fitness coach, personal fitness coach. We have the nanny share extraordinaire, and then we have our entrepreneur. So together, our forces are going to combine to discuss the side hustle and all of its variations and nuances. So, Frugal Females Challenge, kind of my goal with this project was to create a safe space for people to come together and practice their mindful spending and to learn a little bit more about how to manage their personal finances for more impact and learning how to be mindful and exercising effective decisions. And as we've kind of grown throughout the last 6 seasons, we have discovered that there are so many different elements to managing your personal finances. So it's been a personal mission of mine to make sure that we kind of address these different pieces of the puzzle to make sure that we can have a robust kind of understanding of what it means to be financially educated. So this season we are focusing on the side hustle. Enter our side hustlers. So what we want to do today is we want to just kind of introduce each one of our panelists, share a little bit of their story, their experience, and then we're just going to have an open kind of mastermind conversation about what it means to have a side hustle or what it means to be an entrepreneur, having more than one stream of income, or going from that position to having only one source of income. It's very fluid, and we're all kind of working our machines the way that we need to in order to kind of feed ourselves and keep food and shelter over our heads. And so we want to kind of open up all the different kind of creative methods and ways that people are making money. All right. So do you guys want to just quickly start off with introductions, a quick, hello, and what you guys are kind of doing, what your hustle is, and that sort?
Sure, I will start then. Sure. I'm Beth. I do Aero Fitness. It really started in me wanting to be outside of that corporate gym and just do something to really help people more in that one-on-one situation and really like those small group situations. I started doing obstacle course races about 5 years ago, and I fell in love. I just love the feeling of being strong and just really, I want to show people that their bodies are capable of so much more than what they think they are. And if I can make money at it too, then that was such a big deal to me, to do something that I love and to help people and to make money, to just really ball them all together was the total package for me.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And so, side note, I do this bike ride called the STP, which is a bike ride from Seattle to Portland. It's 205 miles in 2 days, and Beth tunes me up every year. So sign up for year 3. She's really good.
Tune up your bike, tune up your body.
Yeah, okay. Get the legs in STP shape. Bethany.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm Bethany, and I have a passion for working with kids, and I have pretty much my whole life. And recently, actually this is my 2nd year now, I've run a 3-family nanny share program. I kind of wanted the challenge. I want a little bit more of a challenge, so I chose to work with 3 different children, all the same age, basically raising triplets that are from different families. And that's kind of my day job. I get to bring my passion with working with kids and curriculum development for the little ones, and just kind of introducing them to the world and how to be good little humans out there.
That's great. We need more of those.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Wonderful. And Raymond.
So my name is Raymond Montgomery. I first started off just looking at what kind of business that I want to get into with a low startup, high profit. And the first business that I actually jumped into was a construction company, or a hauling company alongside with a construction company. Then that moved over into me opening up my own cleaning company, which means I can buy things for cents on the dollar and make a high profit. And then that just evolved into me connecting with other individuals and other entrepreneurs, and ultimately turning myself into a personal resource. So I'm expanding more on that, and been pretty fun so far. I definitely did not want to have the traditional job that I've seen a lot of people have today. One reason was because of the cap on my income. I'm a hard worker, and I love to control exactly what I make for my family, for myself, and I don't like anyone else telling me any otherwise. So that's what was my motivation.
Nice.
Right.
I think you guys are also creative. Do you think that that's like an essential kind of characteristic of an entrepreneur, is that creativity? What was that like for you? Did that come naturally? Did you have to activate that?
You know, I think it's really about thinking outside of the box. I think all of us don't want that 9-to-5 job. You know, we want something outside of that. We want to be in control of our own lives, and I think that's where that creative juice starts flowing. Like, you know, and I think we've all thought, what can I do to like not sit at a desk all day?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think you have to be that kind of person that's a little adventurous, a little creative, and, you know, pretty motivated to kind of like start that.
Yeah, and I would add to that, excited and optimistic.
Yes. Yeah, very
I feel
optimistic.
like everything I've ever done, I'm sure someone will want to buy what I have to offer or participate with me or something. So that optimism too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was very fortunate to be optimistic about looking at things that I know people would need, and looking at the biggest part of what would be some sort of security too, in a way, but at the same time did have that growth opportunity. And the reason janitorial in that sense is what I do, the commercial cleaning. There's millions of buildings in Seattle.
Yeah.
Right? So being able to have something I know is not going away no time soon, or that kind of structured me to be able to jump into doing that part. And looking into my next ventures also. I also have a financial services firm that I'm getting going right now.
Wow.
And it's very exciting, very exciting.
So it sounds like then, in addition to kind of considering, you know, what works for you personally, you kind of have to have an eye for what other people need.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And that's confidence in yourself that you're able to give that to someone else. Because there's lots of needs out there, and it's just figuring out why you can meet it over somebody else. And I think that self-confidence, just knowing that what you have is something special to give to the world. Yeah. And I think that is a really helpful thing to have too.
Awesome. Now, I know you guys have been hustling since day one. I mean, I know that you were talking about maybe your dad teaching you how to rustle up some candy bars to go to like the all-night skate or something, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Since we were young, he wanted to take us out and explore different things and have fun doing them. And we got hooked on going skating every weekend. Like some people I know, they like to go to the skate ring on Friday, Saturday night. And one day he just got sick of paying for us to go every week. And so what he did was he bought candy bars and said, hey, you guys want to go to skating every week? Go sell these candy bars. Wrote up a little script for us and took us down to downtown Seattle, where
That is great.
There was a lot of tourists. And we hustled those candy bars to go skating.
That's so cool.
That's
and
awesome.
it was pretty fun. It was fun.
Bethany, I think you told me one time too, like at some point there was just, I think I remembered you telling me like you just knew that there was got to be somebody that really wanted, what was it, lemonade? What did you start with?
Lemonade was probably my first endeavor, and that was probably like at 5. I don't know. That was the only people I sold lemonade to were the construction workers across the street. But I knew that they want my lemonade, and I made 50 cents, but I was the happiest kid.
Yes.
Totally happiest kid, yeah.
What was your first side hustle?
Oh.
Or even just hustle in general? Like
I guess swim lessons. I started doing private swim lessons once I became a swim instructor and a lifeguard at like 15, 16. I knew I could make 3, 4, 5 times as much doing private lessons.
Wow.
And so I would start doing private lessons like after school and on the weekends and stuff, even though I was still a lifeguard during the week. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Well, what I think is so unique about kind of this whole side hustle or this side gig is, you know, you can find a way to fit it into something that you already have. Like for me, the Frugal Females Challenge is kind of more or less a side hustle in that I have like primary job, and I can fit it into my life. And I know that that works for a lot of people because there's different hats that you wear.
Right.
How do you stay motivated though? Because in having that, you know, I find myself by the time February is done, like I'm exhausted. How do you find that continual motivation to stay, you know, buoyant and on and engaging? Where does that come from for you?
Oh man, on the spot. Well, and I think for me, I guess like fitness, like that is my motivation, you know, because I wake up so early to work out every day, and it's just like that physical act of working out, actually that's what keeps me motivated. You know, when I keep my body healthy, it's way easier for me to keep my mind healthy. But I think at the same time, and maybe it's not the same for you guys, but overall it's that dollar sign that keeps you motivated, you know, when you see that like Venmo and it goes cha-ching on your phone, or you see that come into your bank account, like I just like in my mind, I know it's only going to get bigger. I know it's only going to go up. And to know that you have something so small and you can see that bigger picture of it becoming an empire or an enterprise, that's what keeps me motivated, you know. It's that always moving forward.
Nice.
Nice. What about you, B?
I feel like my situation's a little different since I think I've decided I'm an everyday hustler, and so for me it's not necessarily about promoting a business or like growing one certain idea. It's like all these little tiny opportunities that I see all around me that it just gets me excited just by the very nature of, I can make some money off of this, or somebody wants to buy this, or this could be the next big thing that I'm gonna launch or whatever. And so I think it's like almost just that addiction to the excitement of possibility and what's out there.
Yeah. Oh,
Makes
wow.
sense.
And you almost gave yourself malaria for money.
I was like in between jobs and I needed some money, and I was like, well, for 6 weeks I could make, I think it was like $1,600 to $2,000 to participate in the study.
Wow, that's a lot.
I would be cured. I could do it. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy. Where does that?
Well,
I mean, you are like 5 a.m. to like 12, 1 in the morning, just about every day. What?
Yeah. Well, my motivation has changed throughout the years. At first, started off with the dollar sign, thinking that, I just want to make a bunch of money and not have to worry about money. But recently, over these past couple of months, I've gotten some very good feelings from being able to help people. And I like the feeling of, no matter where the money came from, being able to help someone if I was able to be able to do that. And that is one of the biggest motivations now, just because of the feeling that you get. And it's not even because I have to, it's just because I can.
Absolutely.
And then also chasing a lifestyle. I don't want to have to work the rest of my life, and with that comes money. And so it's not necessarily the amount it is, it's just how I want to live. And that's what the main thing that keeps me going, because I know it takes a lot of it, right? And if I can show a lot of people how to do that at the same time, that is very, very unique and rewarding for me. So that's what I like about why I do what I do. Because it's not just for me; it's for whoever's with me, whoever's following me, right?
So you know that you have a vehicle for success, not only for you but for other people. Whether or not it's, rearing these children that need, to be groomed and have their mind nurtured and their spirit nurtured instead of being plugged into a TV or an Xbox. Whether or not it's helping somebody ride 205 miles or just prepare for a triathlon or a marathon that might change their life forever. How do you even, you know that you have this value add, but a lot of people just flat out get scared of trying to communicate that.
Yeah.
How do you overcome that, or what advice would you that fear of talking, that fear of wanting to sell something? What do you guys, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, it did used to frighten me a lot, right?
Yeah.
But when I looked at mentors or people that were already successful in where their life is, I looked at where I wanted to go and knew that that was just a challenge I had to get over. And the more you do it, the easier it is, right?
And I think it's just a tool you have in your toolbox, and you acquire those tools and those skills as you go along. And to be successful, that's a skill you have to have.
Yeah.
And so I think that eventually you kind of, and I don't want to say like get over it, but you keep practicing.
Yeah.
Exactly. You practice. Yeah. And I feel like you said, being around or seeing other people who are kind of taking a similar path, and then I just felt like just testing out my worth. Just like I knew what I was offering was valuable, but I almost had to just test it, and it was really scary. And I at some points had to like kind of fight for. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and I think those experiences are just like build the confidence and
Yep.
make it easier next time.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you guys ever? Oh. I think we're good. Yeah. Yay, we're live. Yay. Have you guys ever? You know, you're talking about like confidence and overcoming. Like, have you ever really had to face those demons and really just have that conversation with yourself? What was that like?
Well, and I think people had that conversation with me. When I started doing fitness classes, I would only charge like $5 or $10 per person. And people were like, what are you doing? You know, like, you are so much better than that. And I guess for me, like, I needed people to tell me that, you know, sometimes that outside motivation of other people seeing what you're doing and seeing your value and helping you see that. And having those people around you that do care about you and that do see your value and that can help you see that value in yourself, I think is really important too.
Yep.
Because if it wasn't for some of those people and you know, and doing the research and seeing what else is out there and how you compare to other people in your skill level, I think is super important. Because I think once you start and not comparing like your personal self, but comparing your skills and what you do to other people, you realize your value is so much more. And I think sometimes if other people hadn't told me my value, I might still not know that. But when you have that really strong support system of people around you, I think that's really helpful too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And there have been times when I know individually you guys have mentioned to me you started something that necessarily didn't pan out.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Press the reset button.
Yeah.
Reset button.
Yeah.
What is the reset
Yeah.
button?
Well, I forget who says that. Thomas Edison. He said when he created the light, he found out 10,000 ways it did not work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So it wasn't the stop. The failure wasn't the stop of his success. It was just find another way. So that's very motivating, and that's the only way too. What motivated me, what started me was I had a kid to feed. I had a family that depended on me. I had no job. It was around the time construction industry just went to crap. And it was either sink or swim. And I tell myself that anytime I'm up against the wall and I know I need to hit that mark or whatever I need to do, it's sink or swim. And with courage is when you step out and you grow that and you just take that step, right?
And I think it's growing too. From each like failure, you really do grow in your business and as a person and as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And you really learn, like, you know, hopefully you're learning from those mistakes and you're realizing what works and what doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
The first step is that you're trying it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that can
Right.
be my biggest roadblock sometimes with all my ideas in my head is the first step is starting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Starting.
Do it.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think
Right.
once you start it, you realize real quick if it's gonna
Yeah.
work or not.
Yeah.
You know, and then you see those signs and you're like, oh, you know, and you tweak things and you change things and, you know, hopefully it's growing and growing and it's like that snowball effect. And hopefully, you know, it's rolling into something bigger than what you started.
Conversely, sometimes there are things that are really successful but aren't the right fit for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you had those experiences?
I think for me, that's working for other people. Sometimes I work for other people and I'm hugely successful in the classes that I teach and people really like them, but it's not working for me. You know, whether, you know, I'm not valued enough in that company or, you know, it's such this huge time commitment. I'm wearing myself really thin or I'm not getting anything out of it. Like I would work at a corporate gym and I would just go and I would teach and I would leave. And people loved my classes, but they're not getting anything from me. You know, they just happen to really like my class. And my classes were very successful. I had a really big following, but that didn't feel good for me. Like that, you know, like I needed to do my own thing. I needed to get my own following and not be at that like kind of corporate level and just be another number in like a corporation. That didn't work for me.
What about you, friend?
I think for me, kind of similar, trying to figure out what works for me, like with my time. There was a time period where I was working, I think I had 5 different jobs. That was like 3 years ago before I started this Nanny thing. You know, piecing together an income, that was like my ultimate hustle days. And I was doing a lot of different things. It brought me a lot of joy for a lot of reasons, but yet there was still some disconnect between what I was doing, because the jobs were very different. The other side of the story with the malaria thing is, though I didn't make it into the trial, I was offered a research assistant job, and I was much rather be on that side of the needle. But yeah, definitely. But in doing that, I think the dollar sign was kind of my motivation at that time period, and so I was taking on a lot of very interesting jobs, very diverse jobs, but it wasn't feeling my heart. It wasn't my soul, because they weren't things. I got excited for the hustle and the freedom of the different hours I was working, but at the end of the day, those things weren't speaking to my heart. So
yeah, definitely. I think that a lot of people have things that they feel they're good at, and they may feel comfortable that they want to stay in.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But still not self-fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is this really, truly what I want to do? Mm-hmm. And only you are the one that can decide and make that choice. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know if most people would make that jump or not, but if I would encourage them to do that,
What types of people make that jump? What qualities or characteristics are important, or you think lend to that kind of conversation or that outcome?
Well, I think the first word that stands out to mind is a leader, because you cannot listen to outside influence, and you have to be focused and minus distractions. Mm-hmm. And someone like that, first word is a leader. Characteristics is someone who is a servant of other people, putting others first. Mm-hmm. Because if you're just going into something just for self-worth, people can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they pretty much are turned off by that. Mm-hmm. So you may be pretty successful, but you can be one of them if you, not a nice person. Yeah. And then you can also be one that puts others first and be very genuine and still be successful. Mm-hmm. So your true character will come out whether you're successful or not. But it's better to be on the more genuine and successful side than anything more.
So we've heard leader, servant, sincerity or genuine kind of. What do you girls?
I would add courageous.
Courageous.
Brave.
Yeah.
Because it's scary to step out there, but I'd say be brave.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just that intrinsic motivation, those motivations can't come from the outside. Mm-hmm. If you're doing it for other people or other things, I don't think it's ever going to work. When you're doing something, for yourself that makes you feel good and something that you really love, I think that's when you become successful, when you have that intrinsic motivation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm learning right now. Let's see. I feel like I have so many questions, but I'm just so interested. Let's see. So it's been said that success leaves clues. Yeah. What clues have you guys been given?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I have one of my clues. It's pretty, when I was working all those crazy jobs and doing all these other things, I still did working with kids on the side, but it wasn't my primary job at all. I do all this work for other people, and at the end of the day, I saw these twins once a week for maybe 2 hours, and I came back home and I would tell my roommate all these stories about everything that happened during our very short time. And she just looked at me and said, you have more to tell me about your day when you see those kids than you ever have with any of these other 5 things you're doing. So maybe you should look at that. And then that was kind of, for me, that was a huge clue of passion. My heart was 100% wanting to be with kids. And so.
Mm-hmm.
I think passion is a big clue when you realize that you're always thinking about something, and you're always thinking about ways to make it work. And I think that's a big clue. And being able, when you want to work on something, even though it's a long day at your regular job, you come home and you want to work on something. Yeah. I think that's a really big clue. If you have that passion and you're willing to put in the work, then that's when it becomes a side hustle. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys feel, let me pause for a sec. It's so easy to have kind of some sort of side income, it seems, these days. There's Uber, there's Lyft, there's Airbnb, there's delivering people's food, there's working for Amazon. You can have an Etsy shop, you can be a brand ambassador, that multi-level marketing business to business type thing. As kind of a side hustler, what's your opinion or perspective on that? Is it like the more the merrier? Is it making your lives harder? What is, what's your kind of opinion or take on that?
I think the best quote for that is that, you don't have to dim someone else's shine, to be bright. I think that everyone can be so bright together, and I think if so many more side hustles were able to work together and encourage one another, I think you'd see less of that corporate greed and less of that big business. If those individuals could really take that stuff and make it into something more, I think we would all be much better off. Yeah. And if you can get those individuals that have that motivation, that's what we're looking for in life. People that have that motivation to be something more than comfortable.
Nice. And I like to consider myself a pillar as far as being a person of resource. So I love bringing together different strategies, different mindsets, different businesses, just to help each other grow as a group, as a community, as a union, right? Because big corporations kind of do it. It's like
right.
it's a clue.
It's a clue. And when I think about clues for me, I think about kind of my why. And that really happened, that kind of aha moment. I remember it was, and I think I may have mentioned this to you guys kind of individually, but when I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old, there was like this big Super Bowl performance by Michael Jackson, and there's that huge like balloon world in the background, and all these people from all these different countries, and they had their traditional kind of clothing on, and they're all holding hands and singing in unison, and everybody in the the fans are like holding up this card, and it was like this perfect world stage. And I remember I was just a little kid, and I'm crying, and I'm like, Mommy, I want to make the world a better place for you and me too, and I kind of want to like heal the world. But in terms of like success leaving clues, I think I left myself clues. All throughout my childhood, I was always volunteering. I was always looking for, even Frugal Females is something, like you said, it being of servant mind. I don't make any money off of this, but this fills my cup over and over and over again. So I love doing this. And I think that those little clues kind of, it just personally speaking, did you guys have that? I mean, I remember that we had a conversation one time about feeling like you were spinning, like kind of going around in circles, and having to kind of really understand like what your clues were and how you can move forward with those. Is that, I don't know what kind of question I'm asking you.
Moments.
The aha
Exactly.
moments. Yeah, when did those happen for you? Like, did you have those for yourself? Did you find that was true for you?
Where did that start?
Yeah, and I guess I feel like when I started working for other people, I was realizing that I can do this. Like whatever I'm doing here, I can do that, and I guess that was an aha moment, working for someone else, but realizing that I would be more fulfilled doing it on my own.
I feel like I'm having aha moments as I'm getting more comfortable in what I'm doing, and then I'm looking back. I mean, even just the course of the conversation, looking back into my childhood, looking back into like my early, trajectory with schooling and things like that. And just being like, oh, it's kind of been here all along. These clues have been here all along. And for a while I tried to escape them, and I tried to like find something else or find a different passion or find something that I felt would be more meaningful. And for me it was that big moment of like, it's kids for me, And so it's been fun to kind of look back at that actually and see like, oh, there's been clues this whole time. There's been these aha moments this whole time. Like I just wasn't paying attention.
Nice.
I think mine comes from when, like she said, working in sort of an organization, people are telling you what to do all the time, but we don't necessarily need someone telling us what to do all the time. And if we can realize that and know that we have that, what they call that courage behind us, or that skill to know we can still learn, then that's always a refresher, right? It's always, okay, I think I can do this. If someone's dependent on you in a job, it's the same thing on your own. You just, now it's yourself and your family.
You're prioritizing, you're setting. So that actually brings up a really good point. Just, we're talking bare bones practicality here. How do you prioritize? How do you be successful when you're wearing more than one hat?
Okay.
I think it's just time management.
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly what it comes down to, you know, when you're working more than one job and prioritizing, of course. I'm really lucky to have a job that I can, like my main job, I can leave at work. I go to work, I come home, and it stays. It doesn't come home with me. And so, you know, my time at home, I can spend that, you know, prioritizing my time into things that I want to do. So I think time management is the biggest thing. If you can manage your time wisely, I think you can do anything.
Yeah, definitely. So what I have done is I have my day set out as far as goals that I want to accomplish. And then I chop my day up into about 3 or 4 mini days. So in the morning, it'll be a first 4-hour segment from maybe 8 to 12. And then the next segment from 12 to 4. And then the next from 4 to 9. And I have the things that I know I need to take care of in there and lose time to do other things that I want to do. So again, time management is key. But at the same time, with goals at the end of the day of the things I want to accomplish.
I think setting those small goals is super important.
Yeah.
You know, and just being able to check those things off the list, and that you know that you're always moving towards that bigger goal.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge one.
Yeah.
And I would just add to that balance, like in prioritizing, finding balance, so that you're putting your energy towards, you know, your hustle, your day job, your future, you know, your future ideas. And that's an area that I'm actually working on. It's really
I think
hard
that's
to
what
find
we're all
balance.
working on. Yeah.
It's really hard to find balance.
There's, I mean, I'm super guilty of Facebook and Netflix.
Yes, yeah, and then there's that.
And then there's Twitter feeds.
Well, and I'm super guilty of not being able to say no. Like, of course I'll stay an extra hour. Of course I'll work that extra day. When really that is time that I could be, you know, putting towards that side hustle or putting towards myself. And I think saying, you know, for me, it's just saying no and learning to say no when it's appropriate. Yeah.
Definitely.
Boundaries, yes, that's a big one. Now, that one I'm still learning.
Yes,
That's hard for everybody because as I feel like as a side hustler, entrepreneur, you know, you are so closely tied to those yeses that and then, you know, you try to like rebound or cyclically protect yourself from the no's, right? But having the no initiated from within, then that, like, I think sometimes can spark that whole fear factor. And how do you rebound when you're the one that's causing yourself to, oh my God, no, I can't do this. Like, but I have to. But then, you know, burning yourself out and self-care and those kinds of factors, they kind of come into play on occasion.
Yep.
Definitely.
Have you figured out how to prioritize? Like, if you are just so pressed for time, but you know you need to, have you guys like clued into, okay, if I know for sure if I go work out for an hour, or I know for sure that I like 20 minutes of a nap, or have you guys figured out how to like clue into those physical or mental, psychic kind of clues yet? Or you find that that's evolving?
I'm always an open book. I'm still learning. I'm
Always
still
evolving,
working.
for sure.
I'm always hungry. But I'm not afraid to burn the midnight oil. So if I have to go
And I
all
think
night,
that's a big part of it. Just not being afraid to work those longer days, longer hours, to have that bigger goal in mind. It's okay to sacrifice today to have a better tomorrow.
Yep.
And I guess sacrifice would be a big one too, you know? And I think that's a good clue too. If you're willing to sacrifice your time or your social life or, you know, those little things for that bigger, greater good, you know, I think that's a really good clue that's something that is really important to you.
Definitely.
Agreed.
I feel like I'm learning so much from you guys. Before we kind of wind up and kind of, I would really like for you guys to be able to kind of share what things are coming up for you, how other people can get connected, what you're working on, those kinds. So, you know, have the floor, whatever comes to your heart right now.
You guys have anything?
I am all on Facebook. It's Airo Fitness. It's AIRRO, which is named after my nephew. He's so cute. His name's Airo. And so I put all my classes on events page. So every class is an event. It's really easy to find. Right now they're Tuesday, Thursday mornings at 6 and 7 a.m. They're at a really small gym called The Workshop in downtown Edmonds. And come like probably about June, I'll go back into outdoor classes, and they'll do Monday, Wednesday mornings, probably that 6 or 7. I'm a big morning workout person, and I think it's absolutely the best way to start your day. And so I feel like if I can get other people in that habit, I think that they will love it as much as I do, and I think you'll see how much it changes your day if you can just get up that extra hour earlier and really do something super positive for yourself that's going to carry through the whole day. So Aero Fitness on Facebook is the best place to find me, and and Instagram too is a great way to follow along. I do a lot of juicing recipes, a lot of smoothies, and a lot of exercises, things like that. So if you're interested in fitness and health, that's like a great resource.
Nice.
And like I said, STP's coming up, girls.
Yeah, right. Get on that bike, yeah.
I know what you got for Christmas too.
Right.
What's up, B? How can people learn more about nanny shares? Like I love this idea. I feel like it's so unique. It gives you a chance to socialize kids, and then also have that one-on-one, like that nanny environment that so many parents are like looking for.
Yeah, I don't really have anything official set up. I'd love to put my contact information out there on the website. It's Bethany.Lynn, which is Lynne.Edwards@gmail.com. I can answer any questions about nanny shares. Creating a nanny share situation where you have 3 families working together is pretty unique, but I think it's I think more families will want to take advantage of it, especially here in Seattle, where the cost of childcare is just so expensive, and having that, that extra dynamic of a third child rather than 2 or just 1 can provide a really cool environment for the kids. So if anybody wants to chat about that.
And so do you have like a facility that you go to, or do you take turns rotating at different houses? What does that look like?
We're set up so that we rotate between 2 of the 3 houses. So every other week we're in a new environment, which is great because it provides other like diverse opportunities for us. We're not stuck into one location.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm also looking to add some education to my own, my resume this year as potentially newborn care specialist. So if anybody has any questions or just wants to chat about kids, like I'm happy to do that. And then also just chatting about the side hustle with all the other ideas outside of the day job.
Nice.
Love to chat. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a lot of mommies in the group, so you guys, if you haven't heard this offer, Bethany is willing to chat with you about nanny share opportunities, how to, maybe if you are a nanny, how to get a situation started up for you, or if you're interested in alternative childcare, definitely feel free to reach out. And then Raymond.
Yes. So what I have is a call out to all entrepreneurs, basically. I have a group that I'm launching now. I haven't done the social media production of having my brand out, as far as that. I've been in the traditional sense of with the not email but website. So I'm going to get that going here this spring. But I have a group that I'm putting together that I had before previously. It's just business owners, and it's called Association of Business Executives. We get together, we're a mastermind group. You have to be a decision maker in the business that you're in. We're there to share tips, networking, advice, contacts, all the things that we need to grow and help each other in our society right now, in our community right now. And so where you can find me at is on Facebook, just Raymond Montgomery for now, and just tune in with me or connect with me, and then I will guide you to the rest of the social media sites that I'm going to be opening up here soon. So that way we can grow.
Yeah.
For as much, you could say negative response and like the addiction and distractions, I love the way that social media opens up the communication channels for small business owners and side hustlers like us, coming together and able to connect and share and promote each other and kind of grow.
Yeah. That's.
You guys, thank you so much for joining. I am so
great.
excited.
Yeah, this was great.
You guys have
Great
all
for having
had
us.
amazing stories just in general. Thank you guys for joining along with us. If you have any questions, I'll go ahead and share their information kind of in the comment section below, or check us out on frugalfemaleschallenge.com. We have the bios and contact information up on the partners web. So if you go to frugalfemaleschallenge.com/partners, you should be able to find everybody. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful